best known for her time as a beauty queen. After taking home the Binibini Pilipinas World 2002 title, she was sent to London to represent the country in the Miss World 2002 pageant, where she placed top 10. She is now a loving mom who inspires Filipinos all over the world to continue to do good.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of In Love With Me, where we feature inspiring individuals who will share their amazing stories. I am your host, Mafae Velasco, and for this series, our topic is being empowered during quarantine. For this episode, we have Kate Manalo-Hernandez to motivate us to take action. So without further ado, let's welcome the beautiful and amazing Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Mafae. Good afternoon.
Thanks. Hello. I know you're such a busy mommy now, and I'm so glad that you're able to get online with me just to inspire others the way that you have been doing all these years. So with that, please share with us, Kate, on how you became the empowered woman that you are today.
How did it start? I believe because our parents encouraged us. But more than that, we were given opportunities where we can really express ourselves. And also, I think it all started with how our parents encouraged us to have a relationship with God. In every stage of my life, I made it a point that I had a purpose. When I was in high school and college, or when I was working, I had a purpose, and that purpose connects with how I can give God glory. And that really what keeps me empowered. And now that I have a family and with my own children, I also do the same. More than academics and sports. I also want them to build the same spirituality and faith in the Lord.
So let's talk about, let's rewind a little bit on how did you find the passion on joining beauty pageants? For everyone out there, Kate has been one of my mentors, an inspiring woman who actually crowned me the same crown. She was Binibini Pilipinas World 2002, and I want her to share her story on how she decided to join Binibini Pilipinas. Or did you have any other pageants before that?
No, Binibini Pilipinas was my only pageant. Okay, it's really been a long time. But to be honest, it all started with my father's dream. I remember when I was younger, he'd encourage me to watch, or we would watch together, the Miss Universe pageant. At that time, when there was no cable and TV was the only thing available, Miss Universe or Binibini Pilipinas was really such a big thing. And we would watch it together. It's my father, not my mom. So it's very unusual. So we'd watch it together, and when there were times that we'd miss it for a specific year, what he would do is the next day he would ask me the questions and how I would answer it. So it started that way. I can't really say if it was a dream, but it was really he kinda how do you call this? He he sort of I forgot the term, but it was slowly, parang in a way, he was telling me to join. Not
Mm.
directly, but indirectly. Because what's the point of really practicing those questions, right?
Yeah.
And then finally, I, to be honest, I joined Binibining Pilipinas 3 times. The first
Oh,
time I joined, yeah, 3 times. The
I
first
didn't
time
know
I
that.
joined, yeah, but it didn't really. I joined, but meaning I didn't end up being at the pageant or one of the official
Mm.
finalists or one of the official candidates. So at first, the first year I joined
Mm.
so I went to the final screening, and then as you know, there is a final screening where all the pre-screened candidates
Mm.
attend. Um,
Mm.
that specific final screening day was also the schedule of my community, Singles for Christ, for an international conference. And as I mentioned
Understood.
earlier,
What did you?
um, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Singles for Christ. So as I mentioned earlier, I have been active in the community. So I started with Youth for Christ, and then at the time,
Mm.
I was already with Singles for Christ. And it was the international conference, and I wanted
Mm.
to attend it. So I chose the conference over the
Mm.
final screening. And then at the time, it felt like maybe it was God's plan
Mm.
because I wasn't really ready. I wasn't really ready. It was
Right.
in my mind. I was thinking that I just joined because I had to, or it felt that I had
Mm.
to. And then
Right.
second year, so the immediately the next year, I tried to join again. So I
Mm.
got through the pre-screening process, the final screening. Um, at the time, I was part of the official candidates already, and then
Mm.
I joined some of the pictorials, but excuse me, at the time, I was an active TV commercial model,
Mm.
and you know how very strict Binibini is when it
Mm.
comes to contracts and legalities because
Mm.
they want you to be available anytime. So
Yeah.
I had
Mm.
an existing contract or an endorsement, and I can't get out of that contract. So
Mm.
eventually, I was disqualified and couldn't attend. I think I was disqualified a week before the pageant, and I was really
Okay.
heartbroken. I was really heartbroken at that time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then the third year, so this was year 2002, I joined again. So, okay, in my mind, parang, let's just finish this, okay? Join again. Sabi, they always say, 3 times the luck. So, it's just my third time. So, so I went through the pre-screening. For the final screening day, I didn't want to attend anymore. I was too, at the time, I was busy with work. I wanted to concentrate with work. And then,
Mm.
God bless my boyfriend then, who is now my husband. He was the one who really
Yeah.
pushed me and encouraged me to attend
Mm.
that final screening. Um, him
Yeah.
together with his mom, my mother-in-law, booked the parlor,
Mm.
booked the parlor so that I can attend and be ready, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's my journey, and you know, at that time, my final goal was just to win. Any
Mm.
title would do, but really, Miss World was one of the titles that I was really targeting because at the time we didn't have any Miss World. I wanted that
Mm.
challenge, and
Mm.
winning all the other special awards, especially
Mm.
the Miss the Miss Swimsuit was really just icing on the
Mhm.
top.
Yeah. Yeah. Your batch was very competitive. I remember watching your pageant, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, are these the type of girls I'm gonna be up against? With you and Karen. My gosh, like I remember that night when it was our pageant night, and I was like, how do we follow their footsteps? But it was just so amazing that you became such a close friend to me. You and Karen are pretty much like sisters to me. But with that, I know now that you are now a mom of 3 beautiful and handsome children. How is that going for you?
It's fulfilling. It's very fulfilling, but at the same time challenging. And have to be honest when I say that you get tired too sometimes, and you need those mom breaks, especially now during ECQ when we're stuck together. I think it's been 3 months already, right? So there. But
so with that,
I'm happy. Pardon?
Go ahead.
I'm happy that during this ECQ, I was really able to bond with them. The last year and the past few years, actually, I have been busy with work. So, and I was praying to God, I want more time with my children. And, he gave that 3 months, 24 hours.
Yes.
So there.
Your prayers. I know that you also, you're an image consultant too, right?
Yes.
How did that come up along?
Okay. I can't say that it was by chance, because I've always been interested with image or beauty. My maternal grandmother was actually a beautician then. So back in the 70s and 80s, we call it beautician, but now they're stylists. We call them stylists. Yeah. So she was a stylist. And then when going back to the history, my family history, a lot of my titas, my aunts, and my tita lolas also owned parlors. And really, it's a long family member owned one of the famous beauty parlors back then in the 70s, and it was called Kayumangi, where all the socialites and stars at that time would go. So there. So my lola worked there, and then also my mom and my aunt were also beauty title holders, and they were also models. So we were really exposed to that type of environment. Sitting up straight, table manners were ingrained at a very young age. So I think it started that. And then, as I grew older, the interest just became bigger and bigger. And that when I decided to stop working, I was working at the time, when I decided to become a certified image consultant, I was working for one of the top banks in the Philippines, and I decided to quit and pursue image consulting.
Okay, so I know there has to be a rewarding feeling when you're doing consulting with image. What is the rewarding part for you?
The rewarding part for me is the change that the person feels. You immediately see that she herself becomes empowered. And I think that's the beauty of image consulting. You're given that opportunity to empower other people, not just women, but children or other individuals, not only with image, but also in their goals and passions in life. Of course, Mafae, I'm not only focusing on image, but part of my work also as an image consultant is that I have diversified and moved also to culture building in companies. So it's more about service, how to do better service in their work and with their brand. So there.
Yeah, that's nice because we need more people like you to inspire others, most especially right now. Let's go back to where you represented the Philippines in the Miss World 2002. I know there was a big issue or challenge that you and the other candidates had to face. Can you share what happened there again?
Okay. So originally, the Miss World pageant was to be held in Abuja, Nigeria. So
Mm-hmm.
we were there already for a week. I think we were there for a week. Total of 2 weeks. But for during the first few weeks, you know what happens? You know, a lot of pictorials and visits, sponsor visits, and going around the area, seeing the uh, beautiful tourist spots of Nigeria. And then I think one one journalist made or said or wrote a comment that offended our Muslim brothers. So that triggered
Oh,
that triggered a conflict within
mm-hmm.
that triggered a conflict, and later on it caused rallies, and then to the point that there were people, or there was a crowd, there was a rally that was um, building or walking toward building around the hotel where we were staying. So the organizers, Miss World, decided to move the pageant from Nigeria to London, back to London. So we had a chartered plane, and
Mm-hmm.
we were in a chartered plane, and that was at the time it was very really frustrating and scary for us because they weren't giving any information. They weren't sharing information
Oh,
only because they wanted to ensure that we are secured. They
mm-hmm.
because they were afraid that a candidate might share information to journalists as well, because back then I was receiving calls,
Mm-hmm.
telephone calls, and phone interviews on the
Mm-hmm.
situation, and they were afraid that we might accidentally um, divulge information, so they were very
Mm-hmm.
quiet on their plans for us.
Mm-hmm. So you ended up going to UK, and then that's when you landed in UK. That's where you found out what was really happening. Oh my
Yes,
gosh, yeah, I
yes.
remember you had some kind of challenge like that. So during that time, I mean, when you found out, and in line with what's happening now, how did you motivate yourself to still represent the country, and at the same time, not knowing what will be the result?
Okay, that's a good question, because there were actually three candidates who withdrew because of the
Oh
situation.
wow.
They flew back to their own countries, yeah. And at that time,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, Mafae, during the first few days when they weren't giving us any information, I was crying. And it was really my
Mm-hmm.
first time to travel abroad by myself. So it,
Mm-hmm.
it was like an excuse that so that I can go home. I wanted to go home. But I realized my family back in the Philippines were really working together to help support
Mm-hmm.
me. Binibining
Mm-hmm.
Pilipinas was very supportive as well, in the sense that they were preparing already the they were preparing my clothes, the accessories, because Nigeria is a tropical. It's a desert, so
Yeah.
it's warm. The climate is very warm, so the attires I
Mm-hmm.
had were very different because December, London is very cold already. It's winter time in
Oh,
London, so
yeah.
Binibining Pilipinas was also preparing stuff to be sent,
Mm-hmm.
so that when I move to London, I'll be prepared. And I was very thankful for that because um, two big balikbayan boxes arrived just with winter clothes, and
Oh my God.
they even excuse me, sent tons of tuna in water those foil packs, because I wasn't really
Yeah.
that skinny. I'm not. I'm not a very
Yeah.
skinny. I'm not a skinny woman. So they
Mm.
were afraid that I might be binging because of the stress. So they sent
Yeah.
loads of those. See, I can still remember albacore, those albacore oil sachets that I had
Oh my
to
God.
finish when I got
Yeah.
there. Oh my gosh, what will I do with this? So for the next 2 weeks, I was only eating
Mm.
because I didn't want to put it to waste. So I
Yeah.
really consumed those tuna. I ate it with salad. And my co-candidates were wondering how come they were gaining weight and I was losing
Yeah.
weight. And then I just
Yeah.
say, at that time, the competitive side of me would say, "Oh, I
Mm.
just love tuna." So my organizer sent me tuna. So there.
I didn't even know of that. Lucky ka. But yeah,
Yeah.
so now that you have those memories and you have daughters. Now you have daughters. Would you want them to follow your footsteps if they had the passion of wanting to join pageants?
Okay, follow my footsteps. I don't really know if they would want to, but um I will not discourage them. I
Mm.
will not discourage them. So that's my operative word there. No, I will not discourage them. But if they want to, I will
Mm.
support them. I think that's important. That's the important thing for every parent, is to is
Mm.
for your child to know that you are there for them. And
Mm.
for my eldest daughter, Catrice, at a young age, she has shown interest in joining the beauty pageant. She would joke around and say that she wants to be Asia's next top model. So and then um I remember during her moving up from
Mm.
from kinder to grade one,
Yeah.
you're familiar with moving up exercises wherein they
Yeah.
give short speeches. So
Mm.
I didn't know her speech, and then so she wrote it with her teacher because I had to ask the teacher who wrote the speech, and then
Mhm.
during her moment,
Yeah.
she said that she wants to become a binibining Pilipinas like my mom. So in front of everyone. So that's what she said. And then, the audience laughed. That was the reaction because how can you hear that from a
Oh,
6-year-old,
yeah.
I think she was 5 or 6 years
Mhm.
old at the time. So me naman, the reaction, I almost fell from the chair because I didn't expect that it's something that she really considers in the future.
Mhm.
I'm sure as she
Mhm.
ages now, as she grows older, it changes. Now she says she wants to be an artist
Mhm.
because she's into drawings and paintings. So I
Mm.
think she wants to be an architect,
Maybe that's
but
her talent.
there. Yes, she's good with paintings. So now I'm encouraging
Mhm.
her to practice with her drawings and paintings so that, and then I'm telling her,
Mhm.
if you want to be an artist, there are professions that you can consider, like being an architect who so um you'll be drawing or making homes. So that's what I'm telling her,
Mhm.
focusing on it's the
Mhm.
same values, focusing on the family, the home.
Right. That's nice. Of course, I'm pretty sure since you guys are a family of queens, that's where she also saw the inspiration. Apart from you, your two younger sisters also became queens. How did you feel when your younger sisters also wanted to pursue the pageantry?
How did I feel? Of course, it's different, but I remember. So my reaction, okay, I had different reactions for every sister. Um, with Bianca, I wanted her to join. I wanted her not to join that specific year.
Mhm.
I told her to, can you just give me a year so I can train you and
Yeah.
then join the year after. But she had
Mhm.
mentors too. So, and I'm
Mhm.
thankful that her mentors were there all throughout, helping her, holding her hand at when
Mm-hmm.
she joined. And then
Mm-hmm.
for Nicole, it was something unexpected for us.
Mm-hmm.
We would kid around, because uh, including my aunt, technically
Mm-hmm.
our family has the three titles: Universe,
Mm-hmm.
World, and International. So my aunt is
Yeah.
Binibining Pilipinas International.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we would, as siblings, we would tease around that Nicole should join, so that she'll be the Miss International. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't something that it was a joke. It wasn't really
Yeah.
something that we thought she would consider. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was really a surprise when we found out that she joined already. And I think
Yeah.
I heard it from another friend, from another Binibini, Karen,
Yeah.
because uh, I think Nicole approached KF
Mm-hmm.
to help her, to mentor her. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that the year before the pageant, she was already training.
Yeah.
So there.
So she was surprising you guys.
Yes. But for Nicole, the journey was different. She too, like
Mhm.
me, joined twice.
Right. Yeah, I remember still that night, the night that Nicole won, you and Bianca was sitting at the front row, just like nervous, anxious. I sort of felt that, that same feeling when, of course, my cousin joined, but iba,
Yes, yes,
kapatid mo yan.
yes, it
This is
was.
your sister
Mm.
that, you've lived with all your life, so you only want the best for them, right? But
Yes.
again, we're grateful. She's a queen now and also a mom. And so, does she have a girl or a boy?
She has a boy.
Mm. Well, there you go. So with that, amazing family that you have. Just to talk about what you've been doing during this quarantine period, is there something new that you've learned about yourself?
Uh, Not something new. I don't but really working on the skills or the things that I've been wanting to do before. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, now I had more time to practice playing the piano. And then also I had more time to cook and prepare food for my I cook and I love cooking and baking. So I have
Mm-hmm.
more time doing that. It's really during the quarantine, it's really being able to do things I wasn't able to do before, in the sense that, because back then I was busy with work.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm able to have meals with my family 3 times a day. So that's something that I now treasure,
Mm-hmm.
because after work you go home late by the time my children are about to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And now I prepare we prepare meals together,
Mm-hmm.
and that has built a relationship also. But at the same time, it's been challenging because during the quarantine, when it was announced, I can still remember the day it was, when the news came out, or when our president announced. It was March 12th, and that was the birthday of my husband.
Mm-hmm.
So um, at that time there was still school,
Mm-hmm.
so we had no choice but to, just like all the other parents who still had school at the time, we had to convert to homeschooling. And so we for the last 3 months we were busy doing distance learning program with
Mm-hmm.
my kids. So I wasn't only their mom, I was also their teacher.
Yeah. But you know what? Like you said, you've been spending a lot of time with them, and I'm sure you have had already a schedule, or you got the hang of homeschooling,
Mhm.
because you'll find your I guess your the way that you learn, you teach. It's also the bonding, like you said, the
Mhm.
spiritual aspect of your family is very the strongest part. So I'm sure now you're seeing how much your kids can learn from you. With that, can you share, Kate, for aspiring um, younger people or the youth who want to become a leader like you or an empowered woman like you, what would be the first thing you would share or give them advice on?
Ah, advice for me is to be, you know, to be authentic, to be real, to be true to yourself. And at the end of the day, I always say, what's your purpose for doing
Mm-hmm.
things? Knowing your purpose and staying true to, when I say authentic, you say true to your values, you say true to your convictions and your beliefs. Don't let anyone or other people or society dictate who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. And at the end of the day, knowing your purpose because you want to give glory back to God. After all this, being an empowered woman, becoming a good mother, image consultant, all these hats that I am, uh, that I wear,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really matter if I don't give the glory back to God, because I owe it to my maker
Yeah.
that I become the child that he wants me to be. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing I also tell my children, that
Mm-hmm.
they also do the same. They're not doing things for me, but they're doing it for Jesus.
Amen to that. I agree with that. We have a question here coming from my mom all the way from Sydney. She's asking, how do you find your me time in spite of a busy schedule, being a mother and wife, and still feel not stressed? Go, Kate.
Me time. My me time starts at around 12 midnight. My me time starts at around, we have a schedule really. And I'm actually it's different for every family. And I'm when they ask me how you are during ECQ, or do you feel stressed? Excuse me. Excuse me. It was stressful, I think, during the first 2 weeks because everyone was adjusting, especially with the schedule, with the schooling, with the homeschooling. But then after that, um, everyone, all the members of my family, we had a routine, we had a schedule to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I was strict with that schedule because also I don't want my children's sleeping habits and also their school habits to change.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question on me time, my me time happens really when I love baking. So I bake, aside from the cooking 3 times a day, I bake also around 3 times a week. So that's my me time. I enjoy baking. I enjoy bonding with my children. And also my me time includes watching K-dramas with my husband. Uh,
Yay!
but just a disclaimer, we have been fans of K-drama long before all this Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are one of those original Hallyu fans.
Yeah,
We've been
probably.
watching K-dramas back in 2002.
Wow, I didn't know they were still. Well, of course, I'm sure they've been making movies since a long time ago. But with that, Kate, thanks for sharing all your stories. During the time that you joined, when you faced challenges, how did you change your mindset? During the time where you really had an off day.
How do I change my mindset? Hmm. I think it's really acknowledging what you can and you cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first step in any situation, ECQ, uh, being at home, lockdown, having issues with work. What are the things you can acknowledging and identifying the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control, and then you work around that. And then, secondly,
Mm-hmm.
I may sound like a broken record, but I think prayers really do help. You pray a lot, build that relationship with the Lord, and at the same time asking support from family and friends. You know, I survived during at that time.
Yeah.
I really survived the being alone and lonely despite the issues during the Miss World, because I had my family. I knew that my family was there. They were calling me, um, supporting, offering their support. You know, at that time there was only phone or text. You know,
Yeah.
there's no video calls, and it's different, very
Yeah.
different now. And you know, thanks to technology, um,
Mhm.
despite the ECQ, we are still able to um, see and meet my family. You know, we have regular Zoom. I have regular Zoom calls, and I think it should be the same
Mhm.
for everyone. Uh, the
Right.
mindset really is there, acknowledging what you can and you can't control.
Oh, my mom again. This is a good one. Do you think you need to have time away from hobby and kids, like having a girls' night out with girlfriends who are, yeah. Do you think you need that time?
But I still do. I still do.
Yeah.
Remember when we had that Zoom call with just us? I mean, even during ECQ, I'm happy with, like I said, I'm happy with technology because
Mhm.
I still get to do uh, inuman sessions, you know, electronic.
Mhm.
I meet friends and we do Zoom or video calls with a glass of
Mhm.
wine. Um,
Yes.
even before ECQ, I still meet with girlfriends, and I'm happy that my husband is really, you know, he supports me, especially when he sees that I'm very stressed already with work. He allows me to go out with friends.
Yeah, and we're long overdue with ours. Like I was mentioning earlier, guys, Kate and Karen have been really good friends of mine ever since 2003, and we've kept that relationship really close. We would actually have our own, just the three of us, like just a night out, and it would be like our Christmas bonding. But then since now during this time, Zoom, I think we've seen each other more on Zoom
On
during
Zoom,
this time,
correct?
which I'm happy about. We have to call Karen. Karen, if you're watching, schedule another one. But with that, Kate, thank you so much for taking a time out from your family just to share, your inspiring stories and your journey of life. Takeaway from Kate today is, know who your maker is, be thankful, and be grateful for the simple things in your life. Always educate yourself and always stay relevant. Which image consulting, I'm sure Kate is more than happy to give advice and ask more questions. I will make sure to put her social media handle here on the caption. So if you have any questions, guys, Kate will be answering them if you have any and you weren't able to put it on this live. Um, Another thing, just be thankful. I think that's and just know that there are people are here, or your family and friends, that are willing to listen, willing to be there for you in anything that you need, like even if it's just to listen to your events, or just to see how you are. You are not alone. So with that, guys, actions speak louder than words, and thank you for tuning in another episode of In Love with Me. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you for watching In Love with Me series.